Hey, you, come, gather around the campfire, and welcome to the party. This is Party Chat, a JRPG podcast where we talk about everything that we love in the world of JRPGs and other Eastern titles. I am one of your hosts, Cameron Hawkins, and with me, as always, is my party partner, Kevin Kenson. Kevin, how you doing this week?
I'm doing pretty good. I'm doing better than our last recording because I've now had an extra hour to wake up. Uh, little stressed at the moment just because this is my last full day in town, and then I get on a plane tomorrow to Maryland. I'm going to be going to MagFest. I'm helping out a friend of ours who does sells merch, Star Salts. She's doing multiple conventions at once, so we're Team MagFest while they're doing Team ALA. But it'll be a good excuse to go out
Mm-mm.
there, and I haven't been there before, and I've always heard good things about that particular con, so I'm excited. I know a couple people going. My biggest thing, though, that I'm hyped about is their theme this year is Mega Man, and as part of that, one of my
Ooh,
favorite bands, Proto Men, they're doing not one, not two, but three shows where every night they're performing a different act.
that's
So
like,
like,
that's the musical, right?
yeah,
That
yeah.
you told me about?
It's a Mega Man like musical, but rock opera really.
Yeah,
And
yeah, yeah.
they're about to release their third album like this week, and so as part of that at Magfest, every night is a different act. So they'll do Act One on the first night, Act Two on the next night, and then Act Three they're making like a whole big deal about how like they're not gonna record that one or like post anything about it. So it's like what's going down, y'all? Like what are we doing? I don't have time on today's episode to get into the whole minutia of this, but basically there's all these conspiracy theories about like they've released Act 3 already, but they actually haven't because it's like it feels like there should be more here. Like maybe we're missing a couple tracks, or is it going to be a double album, or like there's all these theories right now of like there's actually more music, and I feel like Magfest is where we're gonna find that out. But we'll see. We'll see.
I
How about
love
you,
it.
Kim? How you
It,
doing?
you, yeah, I'm doing good, but I love it. I like how you're it's like you're trying not to be me when I talk about trails. Like right now, you're just like I don't let's not get into the
Well,
to the weeds because I'm
we
gonna
do
pop off.
to break the fourth wall a little bit. We do have a little bit of a time limit on today's recording, so I'm also trying to not add too much to our prep mode.
An ideal out time.
Yeah,
Probably not gonna hit it, but that's fine.
as
That's
close
fine.
to it as we can get.
Yeah, that's fine. But yeah, I'm doing I'm doing middling. Like the holiday break was solid. Got to go down to Vegas for a few days, see my mom. That was nice. And but unemployed again, so gotta back on that grind. So but outside of that, and figuring things out there, I'm doing all right. I watched the back half of Stranger Things. Um, you know, I we could talk forever about
Well,
how Stranger Things as a show in season 5, but I did like the ending.
I
I
was
like
gonna
the ending
say,
a lot.
thankfully we can't because I haven't watched season 5 yet, so
Yeah, yeah,
that'll
yeah.
that'll have to come later. I I enjoy Stranger Things. I enjoyed. I have not, as I said, I haven't watched season 5 yet. I kind of burned out a little on 4 just because like look, I very much love the first season of Stranger Things, and wow, did they just keep upping that ante with every season to a point where it's just like this isn't really recognizable as the same thing I liked before. I know how we got here. I understand how the escalation happened, but I was into like relatively low key kids on bikes, weird stuff happening, and not like MCU level crazy stuff happening in an alternate dimension. You know what I mean? And so like
But
I
you don't like the D&D stuff tied with it or
oh
anything?
dude, that's a whole other thing.
Okay.
Look, I'm very happy that like it has helped. There's like no denying that like Stranger Things has played a bit of a role in the additional explosion of D&D. There's a few factors into why D&D blew up as much as it did in the last decade. However, at least based on clips I've been seeing from season 5, I love how much, and I understand why. It's to serve the story. But they say so much inaccurate stuff about D&D in season 5 where there's just like that's not how that works, or like that's not a spell that class can learn, or like that there's just a lot of like someone did not do their homework on that edition of D&D in that year. But that's just minor nerd rant rage stuff. Uh, yeah, like I enjoy Stranger Things, but I would say my hype level for it is definitely not what it once was. And it's like, yeah, I'm gonna watch it at some point when I have time. I'll get through however many hours long this final season is.
Yeah.
But it wasn't the kind of thing where I was like, oh man, I got to sit down and watch this the moment it drops on Netflix. Like I need to know. I can't have anything spoiled. I'll watch it when I have time.
Yeah, in the short of it, I think that Stranger Things, because I rewatched the series leading up to season 5, and I think that I agree with you. The first season is the best, and I think that season 4, uh, like I honestly like looking back, like I didn't like season 4 a whole lot, especially after a rewatch,
Yeah,
because it just feels like that they're playing catch up. It feels like,
sure.
oh, we know what we're doing now with the big bad, like with what we're doing with the big bad, and now we're introducing him and trying to find ways to hand wave, like, oh, this is why he hasn't shown up to this point. And I'm like,
Yeah.
I don't buy that, and like they just focus too much on it for me. But yeah, and I really think people, there's like they're talking about like, oh, the uh the long breaks in between the seasons is like what makes the new seasons feel so eventful and stuff like that. And it's just like, sure, but also like if y'all had given less time in between seasons and gave the show in general 2 more seasons and ended with a season 7 at this current time instead of a season 5, to really like let things breathe and expand on things, like uh the show would be better. Like season
Also,
5 feels so rushed.
yeah.
Like it all happens. It
Yeah,
just feels very
and
rushed.
also if they had been to that point, in time now, we would have had maybe slightly more believable aging of characters and not just like how massively different some people are like between like season 2 and 3. I think 2 and 3 is the worst gap, maybe 3 and 4. But like where it's just like, oh, they're all adults now, like in real life. Like how long are we pulling off being kids or being as young as they were at least originally?
Honestly, I think the gap between 4 and 5 is the worst.
Mm.
Like, yeah. I mean, like, obviously season 1 through to 5 is whiplash,
Oh,
right?
yeah,
But
yeah.
like, yeah, like at least in the other 4 seasons, they like, characters look like they do. Like Millie Bobby Brown doesn't look like what she looks like in season 4.
Yeah.
She just doesn't. Like, and that's just because she's gotten older.
Yeah.
So,
Everyone aged.
but anyway, but I also want to say really quick before we get into housekeeping. I saw Marty Supreme,
Mm.
and this is a highly talked about movie, partly due to its marketing campaign, which has been fantastic, and another part because like the reception of the movie. Like
Mhm.
I've seen a lot. I've seen takes all over the place,
Yes. I've seen
and
both very positive and very negative.
I think that there's like I'm not trying to insult anybody. I think that this is one of the latest examples of media literacy is dead. Because like I think because first and foremost, Marty is not a good person. Like, right, like
Right, okay.
not a good
One of those
person,
classic situations, yeah.
but he is a man with ambitions, and he's like a man with a dream. And I think that you are able to differentiate the two and be like, hey, this guy is the way that he's doing things. I don't fuck with that, but I do like uh love like the passion of what he is trying to achieve. And so for someone that like also like has I feel like I'm a pretty ambitious person. Like I want, like I have very specific goals that I want to achieve and things like that. Like for me, I was just like I really vibed with the movie. But like I feel like that there's a lot of people that just like think the movie's bad because Marty is a bad person. and that like if you like could find any sort of relation to his character because of the things that he does, like it's bad. And
Sure.
I just like don't I
Yeah,
just don't agree with that.
it'd be like saying Whiplash is a bad movie because J.K. Simmons is a jerk, and it's like that's not.
Yeah.
Hold on.
yeah. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. Well, he's not the main character, but yeah, it's
he's
like
not, but
it
that's.
is
I'm just saying that. Yeah,
but I mean, Miles Teller is also not like a
he's not great.
particularly great.
He's not as bad as J.K., but he is not. That's true. He is not a
Yeah, and
benevolent
Whiplash is
figure.
one of my favorite movies. I love like Whiplash is one of the few movies I will watch at least once every year.
Yeah. Well, and again, because that is, as you've said yourself, like that is a theme and a type of thing that you resonate a lot with, and that, like, yeah,
Also, I'm a musician as well, so like, yeah, I yeah, I really love Marty Supreme. Like, it may be my favorite movie of 2025. Like, I really dug it. And I do think it's a film where it's like you kind of either get it or you don't. Like,
sure,
you either resonate with it or you don't, and that's fine. But like, I think that for the people that didn't resonate with it, all of their explanations as to why, I was just like, I'm sorry, I
Yep.
don't
Be real.
agree. I
say,
don't agree with you.
say psych right now.
But I recommend people. Yes, I recommend people to go see Marty Supreme, and decide for yourself.
Yeah, I've been thinking of checking it
Um,
out. It's at my local theater that does the cheap Tuesdays. So if it's still around next week, I might go check it out. But we'll see. Just because being gone is going to throw off a lot of my schedule.
that's fair. That's fair. Yeah. Report back if you see it. I'm very curious. Because I do want to say really quick because I did see it with one of my friends, and my like he is a very like calm, cool, collected person, like very chill, like super chill guy. And he was just like, that was a really well made movie that I hated. And
Sure.
he hated it because he hated Marty.
Yeah.
And
No,
I'm
it's
just
a valid
like,
stance.
yeah, I guess.
No, you can say a thing is made well and that it didn't make you feel good and you don't like
Oh
it.
no, no,
Like,
that's the thing. That's the thing. Like,
yeah,
I get it. Like, I, I no one is supposed to like Marty. Like, you
sure,
know what I mean? Like, so when people say like, oh, it's because I don't like Marty, it's like there's got to be more reason than that because like no one thinks Marty's a good person, and if you do, you are probably a bad person. Like,
sure,
that's
yeah,
but yeah. So it was just one of those things. Like, I think that ultimately your reception of that movie, your personal reception of that movie, is going to be based off of like your own personal ambitions and your drive and sense of like self and worth and things like that. Anyway, we're gonna go into housekeeping. I, as well as Kevin, have played the first 2 hours of Romeo is the Dead Man, the latest game from Grasshopper Manufacture and created by the creative mind of Suda51. We have a preview up on podcast services and our YouTube channel. We did release a welcome to Party Chat Year 2 update video, specifically on YouTube. We didn't do put it on podcast services. Just basically like updating primarily our YouTube audience. Like, hey, we have YouTube membership now, and we're kind of resorting our membership and benefit structure of sorts, where we basically have put everything into a single tier. It's $4.99 a month, and it gets you the episode a day early. If you're on YouTube membership, you get it on YouTube. If you get Patreon, you'll get the audio version of the podcast a day early, as well as our bonus episode. We're kind of axing the monthly Q&A moniker, and we're just doing a bonus episode.
yeah, which can still
every
be
month.
a Q&A sometimes.
Which can still be a Q&A,
but
and we do have some catch up to do on that.
yeah, we do.
Yeah. And then we also have Campfire Catalog, which we also have catch up to do on that. But it's because we're playing other things to share our thoughts on with reviews and previews and stuff. But we are getting to that. So yeah, $4.99, whether it's be on YouTube membership or Patreon. That those options are there for you. And then our Discord. Our Discord is open. Anyone can join. There will be a link in both the video version and the audio version of the podcast to join in if you want to chat about JRPGs, whatever you want to, it's a pretty lax space. So, um, we would love to get more people in there and chat. We've already had like about 10 people join since we made that announcement, which is really, really awesome. So we'd love to get more people in there. Lastly, go to youtube.com/Kevin Kenson and hit the subscribe button over there. Now we're gonna get into the news for this week. We're gonna do like this different umbrellas updates on a few different developers. We got some updates from Atlas, we got some updates from Falcom, and we got some updates from Bandai Namco.
Playing a little catch up from the end of the year.
Yes, yes. So the Persona director has Hashino had an interview with Game Informer, and this is kind of like without saying it directly, this is kind of like an update on the JRPG 3.0 kind of comments that he made
Sure.
last year, just talking about like how he thinks that JRPGs like need to evolve and things like that. So he says, quote, more so than just latching onto a specific genre of game, we're going back to how we can evolve our JRPG and what it looks like. For us, it's coming to a turning point where we want to really take it to the next level in terms of how our JRPGs are. With these changing times, we do feel the need to update our format and create games that would be more widely playable, not just within the JRPG realm, but something that would be easier, more accessible for a wider audience. We're hoping to update our format with that in mind. What are your thoughts here, Kev?
I mean, this is the thing is, right? This gets into what do you mean by 3.0, and it sounds like the interest here is more in terms of audience expansion and not necessarily evolution of the genre. Like it is evolution of the genre, but evolution with the goal of widening your audience as opposed to say moving the medium forward in some way that is maybe interesting or a change up for the sake of like innovating within the genre, which is always a thing that I kind of get my back up a little bit about, because it's like, look, yes, at the end of the day, as much as we love to talk about video games being an art form, it is also a product. And for a lot of these companies, like, yeah, like you want a wider audience, you want more sales, you want this to be successful because that goes towards, funding other projects and more things you can do. But whenever it kind of goes back to this idea of like, oh, we need to do things differently to grab even more people, and like that's the goal, I'm like, man, just like, can we just focus on making like cool new shit? And like the people will find their way there because the quality comes through. And like that's a much more amorphous thing, because it's like you can guess ways to grab more people. Finding a way to like break new ground and actually like, start a new trend or movement, that's much, much more difficult.
Yeah.
And so it's just such an odd. It's not a comment I love to hear, I guess, is just the main gist.
No, I mean I agree with you, because I mean literally just look at Persona 5, right? Like Persona 5 was not like, yes, they made some changes with like the palaces and versus like the dungeons, the procedurally generated dungeons. I'm saying that term right?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm running on like 3 to 4 hours of sleep, everybody. Anyway, that there wasn't like a super major evolution to Persona 4 to Persona 5, in my opinion.
I mean, the evolution of that was aesthetics, right? Like that
Yeah,
was
exactly.
that was the change in visual style, the UI presentation, the menu designs, arguably to an extent character designs and updates, especially with having everyone have their alter ego kind of like costume design instead of just like, this is me in my school clothes. And so like that all, there can be various arguments for why Persona 5 blew up the audience as much as it did. I would push a large part of it just because it just had that visual cool factor that made a lot more people interested in. I mean, there was a running joke for the longest time of like, oh man, Persona 5 is finally coming to other consoles. Persona 5 fans can finally play it because so many people were, you get that kind of outside fun of, I love these character designs, or I love this thing, and you're getting more fan art, and you're getting cosplays, and you're getting a lot more people spreading awareness of the thing because there's so much hype and love for the look and vibe of it, which was great for expanding the audience. But it wasn't necessarily because 5 like revolutionized the combat system or anything.
Yeah, no, and that's what I'm trying to say is that like Persona 5 and in a bigger scope, the Persona like franchise got big by word of mouth.
Mhm.
Like, yes, there were some elements like obviously the game is visually striking and stylish, and like there's JRPGs that have been inspired and kind of taken that and run with it a bit since then. But Persona 5 was ultimately like was it was a good game that a lot of people talked about that led to them playing it, and like they made the game that they wanted to make, right? Like it's not like that they tried to be like, "Oh, we're doing this so more people will join in." Like that just they didn't do that with arguably their biggest game, right? And so like it's kind of weird to me that like that is kind of like their
Um,
mentality.
Actually, I would argue that's been the goal since like post 3. Like 3, like yes, there was innovation in terms of adding the calendar system, but like there's absolutely a tonal shift going from into and out of 3 where uh there's a lot more kind of upbeat energy, there's a lot more kind of visually pleasing fun anime aesthetic. That's when we get into a lot of like the musical change into being far less dreary and much more like, we get into the fun stylistic choices with each one. I forget, there's an old meme image somewhere of like when 3 was happening or going into 4, where it's like the director being like, yeah, like we're making some changes for the sake of people are going to like this kind of stuff more, and we're going to get a little less philosophical. And meanwhile, the lead artist at the time is like, I like drawing pretty girls. And it's like that's part of how Persona was able to grow its audience. I mean, well beyond what it was during like 1 and 2, where it was a far more like kind of cult status sub-series.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying that Persona didn't get more and more popular from 3 forward.
Right, but I'm
Um,
saying because there were conscious choices to expand the audience with some design choices in those games.
sure. Yeah, I mean, I don't know, that to me that's tough just because I feel like Persona 4 Golden popped off because it was like the big like port that came to the Vita, right?
Sure.
Like that was and then Persona 5 was because it finally came out after a very long development
Yeah.
cycle, and then it, met expectations. And I I'm not saying that those didn't go into consideration when developing those games. I just don't think that I don't know. I guess I just don't think it was that significant in a way where it yeah, I just don't think I don't know, like, I never even really, like, thought of it that
Mhm.
before, with Persona. It's just like, "Oh, yeah, I get" you technically, that could be true. I just, like, never really thought of it that way, and I just don't and, like, maybe that was something that they were cognizant of.
Mhm.
I just don't think I just think that, like, ultimately, like, where we're at now, it's, like, really it was really just, like, word of mouth that got people, um, into it, and, like, I guess, like, how do I explain it? I guess I would rather I'm reading this as, like, a very broad sweeping change or, like, thing that they wanna do in a future JRPG that's more like that's, compared to, "Oh, we're gonna make this upbeat poppy J-pop game after this dreary, like lo-fi hip hop music game." You know what I mean? Like Because I think the best example is just them adding the action hybrid system, right? Like they wanted players to feel more engaged, they like keep their attention because for a lot of people, turn-based doesn't do it for them.
Mhm.
I feel sorry for those people, but that's just the reality that we live in, and I just think that I don't want them to like go further than that in a way that just doesn't feel right to me. I guess you know, it's all like hypothetical,
Oh
of
yeah,
course, but
and like
yeah, I just don't.
at the end of the day, you can chase trends and still make a really freaking cool thing, right? Like it's not an immediate, like you're not destined to fail just because you're trying to widen the audience, but it does represent a different goal for the type of thing you're trying to make. That some people are going to be bigger or lesser fans of. It's just it's the choice, and we don't really know entirely what that means until it's like you don't know it until hindsight, right? You need to see the actual thing that
Yeah,
they've made and how they channeled that goal into that creation.
more on Hashino and just Persona specifically. He mentions that he hasn't been involved with the series since Persona 5 originally released. He said, quote, "Right now, my juniors, members who have come after me, have taken over the reins and are producing titles for P Studio. I've been on the sidelines, watching them and looking over them to see what they're doing. In that sense, I haven't been super involved in the Persona series after Persona 5. Within the physical office we have at Atlas, the studios that make Shin Megami Tensei, the studio that makes Persona, and us, the studio that makes Metaphor, we're in the same floor environment. There's nothing that separates us. Even if it is indirectly, it's stimulating for us to see what the other studios within our company are doing. We're not completely separated from a creative standpoint, so rest assured on that front. Of course, we can't really talk about what's coming down the pipeline at this point, but we do have that level of interaction. Uh, Now, is it crazy to say or weird to think that maybe Hashino isn't directing Persona 6 or isn't, you know, that like I, surely there's been some pre-production on Persona 6, but like maybe that game is farther out than we initially thought.
Yeah, or he's just not involved with it, right? At least I'm sure there's a degree of oversight or whatever, but like he's not direct hands-on. I mean, like the wording makes sense because obviously they've been working on Metaphor for how many years now? Like when was the original Project Fantasy title thing like first teased? It's been a minute,
Oof. Yeah,
exactly.
a
So
minute.
like he's been on that, and so you know, who even knows how far along planning has happened for six or how deep in development six is. Maybe this is him kind of lightly saying that he's kind of hands off on that now and is trying to move towards other projects and making other things and not just being tied specifically to the Persona franchise. I will say, like, you know, looking at how Royal turned out, since, he apparently was not really a part of that, uh, lots of great combat updates as well as some good added plot beats that like cool like there I mean clearly there's a sign that good stuff can happen without his direct hands on the right talent has inherited those roles and such. And if that's the case, I wouldn't really feel worried about like six moving forward, at least based on like that sample. Because at the end of the day, like it's always tough with the kind of like author argument in video games because obviously there is far more than just who the creative director is. Like lots of talent goes into making a game, and it can be very easy to, I think, doom and gloom where it's like, oh man, that guy's not attached. This is going to be the shitty one. And there's all kind of jokes that happen like that with some games, right? Like Dark Souls 2 without Miyazaki. Um, but since we have that evidence of how Five Royal turned out, obviously that was an update, not a whole brand new game from the ground up. But I think that's a great sign, and I think that Hashino's direct involvement, yes or no, doesn't make or break six necessarily.
I don't know if I 100% agree with you just
Yeah,
because the yes, the additional content in Royal is fantastic, but I also think that that foundation that Hashino does with all three of the Persona games, like I just don't know if like I just don't know if there's someone there that can take the reins and do that from the ground up. I you know, I would love to be proven wrong,
Yeah.
right? Because we've been talking about this before, that there is this like second generation of creative minds that are starting to get there in age,
Yeah.
right? And I definitely want there to be people that are able to take the reins from Hashino by the time he decides that he wants to retire and things like that. So, um, that is definitely a we'll have to wait and see.
Yeah.
Because if I hear, you know, if I guess my thought process is like, if you didn't hear this information and you hear Persona 6 announced and it's not be any and then all you know is that Hashino's not directing it, would you not be a little bit concerned?
I understand why other people would be concerned, but to me, that feels like you are abandoning ship on far too little information. Um,
I didn't
there,
say abandon ship though.
I'd say, but I'm just saying, like that's to me, that's unnecessary doom and gloom. To just be like, sure, I get it. That is a fact that he would not be involved, and I can understand why that would cause like concern. Um,
Yeah,
but I just think that that's
like I'm still day one for it, but
sure.
I would have concern. I would be like,
I just
okay, like
yeah, I just think that's putting a bad thought into the experience going in, that I would rather just experience the work itself without worrying about like I just think that that's putting too much stock sometimes into just like as I was mentioning earlier, like I understand the desire to like be like, oh yeah, because of this specific person, but like games development is so much more than one position.
no, for sure. I'm not. Yeah, I agree with that. And again, like I love Tokyo Mirage Sessions. Hashino's not involved with that game,
Yeah,
at least as far as I'm aware. And but again, I just think that he is the forefront of that game or like that studio in a way where I'm not saying, Alice has definitely made other great games that Hoshino is not um tied to. Um I just yeah, it's like it's one of those things where I'm just like, okay, we'll see what happens. Like, it's not like I'm gonna be like, oh shit, I'm worried about Persona 6 because it's just more like, okay, well, let's see what happens here.
yeah.
And go from there. Um he also comments on a Metaphor sequel. He says, quote, when we initially set out to create this game, we had the ambitions of hoping to cultivate this game into one of our brands with an Atlas like a pillar. With that being said, just because we had a certain level of success, we don't want to just jump on that and quickly put out something as a sequel. We want to really give it some thought and make sure that if we are able to continue on in this series, we're putting together something that is building on the values that we were able to infuse into this game and something that would be worthwhile for the fans that would be waiting for it. Okay, you know, I like honestly like I I love Metaphor as my game of the year. And obviously there's more stories that could be told in that world. I also think that the way like just like the conceptual aspects that that game does with its narrative, I don't because normally when it comes to these things, you start small and you go bigger, right? This
And
was this was
this was
big
big,
from
right?
go.
Yeah,
This was big the entire time, right? And so it's like, okay, where do you go from here? Like,
sure.
not even saying if it's a continuation with the same cast. I'm saying if it's a new cast, like, what do you really do, knowing the things that you did in the first game?
Sure.
Um, and that's my kind of like, if y'all can make it work in a way that makes sense, sure. But I also feel like that this felt like a pretty complete experience that doesn't really need a new entry, at least like in that world.
Sure.
Because I just don't know where you go from
Yeah,
that.
and I don't think a metaphor 2 necessarily means it has to be, not even the concept of direct sequel. It doesn't even necessarily have to be the same world or universe, right? We have plenty of series that bear the same name, but they are ultimately standalone stories, each and of their own. Not just the story, but like the setting, the characters, all of it. And so, because we've only had one metaphor so far, we don't really know what it means to be a second metaphor. Maybe it is same universe. Maybe it is somehow a direct sequel that's, however many years later. Maybe it is just an entirely brand new everything, other than the fact that, like, yeah, it's going to have the calendar system and it's a fantasy game instead of modern day. Uh, we just don't know what it means to be a metaphor game in the larger sense like that, right? Like
Yeah.
if it does end up becoming an IP. Yeah, we'll find out.
We also got updates from the SMT team. Producer Kazuyuki Yamai said, quote, I was able to release the title I was in charge of in 2025, Ride Out Remastered. Therefore, 2026 will be a year of preparation. The times and society are changing rapidly, and the same is true for the game market. I would like to further update the titles I am preparing and myself. Incidentally, Alice has a lot of anniversaries coming up, but Shin Megami Tensei is a little ways off. Um, and then producer Shinjiro Takada also said, quote, we've just had a breather after the release of Rideout and Persona 3 Reload for Nintendo Switch 2. It will probably be a while before we have anything else to report. I mean, yeah, makes sense. I do think that Rideout 2 is what's coming next from this team, and then maybe a remaster of like SMT4 or um
Yeah,
would be cool if we got like the Devil Survivor or something like that.
I feel like SMT is in a place right now where we're probably not going to see like a totally brand new game for a minute.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we're kind of in remaster remake territory for the next few years.
Hmm.
And we might not even see anything in terms of that this year. I mean, it's always rough with these kind of comments because they can only really talk about what is actually officially known and released and out. So it's like, yeah, maybe this is an off year where nothing comes out within that IP. Maybe there actually is like at least a smaller project that ends up dropping in the later half of the year. Who knows? They're just not going to talk about anything until they're able to talk about it.
Yeah.
So yeah, but I mean that makes sense for that franchise. I think I love SMT, but it certainly has taken somewhat of a second place, and I'm glad it's gotten the support it has. Like I'm honestly always thankful that like they're still supporting bringing back those older games and like leaning into that franchise and not just making it the Persona show. I'm glad
Yes.
that's the case. But I also understand that it's not going to get quite the same degree of like full blown support.
Agreed. Falcom had their like shareholders meeting or something like that over the break, and we got updates on everything that they're working on. So I got a list of games, some detailed, some not so detailed on what they're working on. So obviously we know that Trails Beyond the Horizon comes out this month, and we're getting second chapter later this year. This list does not pertain to those. So we are getting a ported title. Don't know what specifically. An unannounced Nintendo Switch 2 port title. A new Tokyo Xanadu project, which is the main thing that we've known, and hopefully that comes out at the very least in Japan this year, and then we get it like early next year. That'd be dope. Um, a new title. Don't know from what series or anything like that. A new Trails title and a new East title. Um, I'm curious if. Okay, so this is kind of where my mindset is at. Like, I think that we need Trails third remake. Like, even though it's not as connected to,
Sure,
you
you got to
know,
finish the arc is kind of the idea.
you gotta finish the arc. They're remaking like all of these games.
Yeah, I mean,
Like
I think there's a pretty
at
popular
least up to
assumption right
Crossbow.
now. Yeah, up to Crossbell, up to when they were still doing the chibi, like kind of simpler art and not full 3D, and
Yeah.
maybe Cold Steel somewhere further down the line.
Yeah.
But for sure, like in terms of the remake treatment, um, yeah, I mean that sounds. But do you think that that wouldn't be this year though, right? For three,
No, they wouldn't. I mean, I think that if it's happening, well, I'm not saying that it would have to, but because it made a lot more sense with the first game, but like it would be neat if they teased it at the end of second chapter, like
Mhm.
kind of the same way they did with first chapter.
Right.
I don't think they're going to do that just because it's not
As directly connected.
as directly tied in.
Yeah.
But it would be cool. Um, but yeah, I mean, we'll probably learn something sometime, like around the same time we learned about second chapter, uh, about third chapter,
Yeah.
or the third, like it.
Yeah. Near the end of this year or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So I'd like to think that one of these projects is that. I assume the Trails series is the next Trails, the final chapter of the Calvert arc. Now, with the E series, I personally want an East 5 remake because that's the one East game that we don't have localized in the West.
Mm.
So it'd make a lot of sense for them to do it. And I would, yeah, I just want it. I want it. Like I would rather
Yeah.
want that than an East 11 personally.
Sure. Yeah. Just to complete the
So
lineup.
yeah, when it comes to the other things listed, like the ported title and like the Switch 2 port, couldn't tell you. Couldn't even make an educated
Sure.
guess. So, um, any thoughts?
No, I mean you're the Falcom expert
Sure.
of the two of us. I have played a couple Eases. Someday we'll get to Trails, but I don't really have any extra insight on that for you.
Okay. Tales of producer Yusuke Tomizawa says the remaster project will continue past 2026.
Hell yeah.
Uh, in an interview with Famitsu, he says, quote, "The Tales of series has finally reached its 30th anniversary, and we are continuing to further promote the remaster project and make various preparations for the years to come. 2026 marks the 30th anniversary. The remaster project will continue after that. In addition to these Tales of series projects, we have many exciting seeds brewing, so we would like to carefully nurture them. We will do our best to further promote the Tales of series as a whole." End quote. Kevin, you're more of a Tales guy than I am. How are you feeling about this? Because we're getting Berseria. I assume we're getting Abyss just based off of like the art that we've seen and things like that.
Yeah. I mean, I think
Do you?
it's
Oh, so I was gonna. Do you think we're gonna get Zestria?
um yes, only because like similar to Berseria, it doesn't really take as much work. Because like, look, let's
Mm.
face it, they're calling it a remaster, but it's basically like a director's cut PS5 update kind of game, right? Like those games were on PS4. They don't exactly need like huge major overhauls to their visual design or anything. Um, so like, yeah, I think Zestiria is going to happen eventually. It's not like one that people really have a ton of love for. There are some ways they could try to address some of the things people dislike about it, but I honestly don't see them doing like a heavier remake like that. I feel like you do a remaster release because it's just one of the easier things you can do with it to keep everything up to date now on current systems. Um, yeah, I see that down the line. That's honestly the thing that least interests me about like what this could mean, because like there were a lot of people who were very worried the remaster project was like specifically a 2025 thing, or at least specifically like within the year from when it was announced, because they like worded it like it was like a year-long celebration. And I never really thought that was the case. Like I get how based on their presentation you could like have that takeaway from it, but I was kind of like, I mean, if they're selling, they're going to keep pumping out remakes, remasters wherever they can. I don't see them needing to stop just because arbitrarily, oh, it's been a year since you said you were going to do this. Um, Now, how far they take it as far as like, heavier remake jobs in older games, which I think is a thing that has also been kind of lightly talked about or hinted at. That's the stuff that I would still really love to see them do. I think we're still going to clear out a lot of the easier remaster projects first. As you mentioned, Abyss, I think is very likely to happen. Zestria, probably. But there's that question of like, hey, like now, you've kind of caught up on remastering all the games that came out during these years. So like, What's up with like PS2 era or even going older than that? There's a lot of titles that have not had a release on modern platforms in quite some time. And I don't necessarily need them to be full blown like 3D remakes, but it's like, are you going to do anything with them? Whether that's one of the multiple versions of Fantasia that exists, or, there's already a remake of the original Destiny. Like, do we just kind of up-res and clean that one up for current consoles? We never got Destiny 2. We have a Destiny 2, but it's not the right one. It's Eternia. They just localized it that way. So like, could we get the actual Destiny 2 like over here, which is a PS2 game? There's a lot of possibilities that I think would be cool. We have to see. I think they're going to get through a lot of the kind of lower hanging fruit first, and then we'll see if they want to like up the ante and get into that older collection more so.
Yeah. I think we're because I think he even mentions that he wants to go back to the older one. So like that would be really cool. I, this is like one of my favorite things that's happening in the JRPG space. Like, yes, port everything.
Yeah.
Just give it to us. Just
Yeah.
give it to us.
Well, I think there's a general movement towards doing it more often, not just because it's profitable, but because I think there is a kind of baseline belief right now that a lot more stuff coming out today is going to be more forwards compatible. You never know. Sony might decide PS6 doesn't play PS5 or 4 for whatever reason. But especially if you're releasing PC versions of games, it's like, oh, that stuff can like stay relevant considerably longer. And we've kind of just hit the point where like, yeah, graphics and stuff is getting pushed more and more, but unless we have some kind of very heavy tech shift, a lot more stuff today presumably should see better like forward compatibility and support, and doesn't necessarily have to be re-released 4 more times like with some games, where Final Fantasy 4 has however many different versions because they kept re-releasing and re-releasing and re-releasing.
Yeah. I just yep. Can't wait. Give us everything. Especially the older games like that would be really really great. Uh, these are all going to be quickies, but Pikmin 4 and Splatoon 3 have been rated for Switch 2 in Europe. So, wouldn't be surprised if we get an announcement for a Switch 2 version of those games during the next Nintendo Direct. Uh, Monster Hunter Wilds Title 4 update uh, has a date. There's a data mine that mentioned that there's a Switch 2 version. So, seemingly, take it with a grain of salt.
Yeah,
Monster Hunter Wilds Switch 2 version coming,
not too
which makes
surprising.
sense considering, yeah, Capcom's been a really strong partner with Nintendo on Switch 2, so makes sense. Final Fantasy Tactics, the Ivalice Chronicles, has officially sold 1 million copies. The Final Fantasy Pixel Remaster has officially sold 6 million copies.
Is that counting? How do they count that? Because like
I'm
physically
assuming
they
it's in what?
because like physically they sell that as a bundle, but it's like you can also buy them individually digitally on each platform. So like, are they counting each individual? Like if I buy Pixel, if I just buy 4 remaster, does that count as one? And then if I buy all 6, is that 6 or is that one because it's like the
It
I'm
says
just
the
curious.
Final Fantasy Pixel Remaster series.
Series. Okay, so they are
So I
counting. Yeah.
assume it's like it's yeah. Um, the Octopath Traveler series has hit 6 million copies worldwide. And that's it. That's our news for this week. Um, we are gonna skip what we've been playing this week because we have a review up, a preview up, and that's what
That's
we
what we've
kind
been
of got going
playing.
on right now.
Yeah.
Yep. So we're gonna get into our topic of the show this week. Shouldn't go for too long. But we're basically gonna be doing a fantasy draft. We're gonna draft 5 games each from any Eastern developed game, and we're going to set up like a whole fantasy critic league thing where we're gonna have the 5 that we're drafting today, and then we're going to pick up some throughout the year, and then by the end of the year, we will come back and see who has won. Now, just as a start, just as a friendly agreement handshake, Kevin.
Uh
What are your vibes on you letting me take Trails second chapter and then you take Fire Emblem?
huh. I mean, I kind of assumed those were going to be our first drafts each. So
Yeah, but here's the thing. I could have like here's the thing. I don't know what's going on in your mind. You could have sniped that from me.
sure. I mean, look, if we were gonna, yeah, like if we were doing a coin flip, I mean, I feel like if I took that, you would probably take. I feel like these are each games that we have a decent faith are going to get a solid Metacritic.
Oh yeah, no.
Uh,
If you took Trails, I would have taken Fire
yeah,
Emblem.
exactly. So it's like I'm fine taking the one that like is more my series, anyways, just for like some series rep, you know.
Yeah. Um. Oh, we'll do that at the end of the show. I forgot to do the monthly releases, which I'm gonna stay consistent about this year. Everybody, I'm gonna stay consistent. Um. Alrighty. Now we're gonna do a coin flip to see who goes next. And to be clear, this is basically like whoever's going first. So if you win, Kevin, you pick and then I get 2 picks. And then you get 2 picks.
Okay.
Yeah, snake wise. So Kevin, heads or tails?
Tails.
It is tails. So
Cool. So
you
I get to pick first.
well you get to choose.
Oh, I get to pick if I go. Okay, and
Do
then
you want to go first or do you want to go second?
and again, it's one, and then two, and then two,
So
and
if you
then
go first, you pick 1, I pick 2, you pick 2. If you go second, I pick 1, you pick 2, I pick 2.
yeah, and then we each just pick a final one after that because we have to hit 5, right?
You would pick 2 more and then I would pick 1.
Yes. Yeah. Um. Hmm. Hmm. I'll go second.
All right, so you want me to go first?
Yeah.
All righty. Mm, Let me let me take a look at what's releasing this year.
Yeah. I kind of have a
I
rough list
definitely
together. Yeah. Well,
yeah,
because
I definitely have some in mind.
yeah.
So,
And for a little more breaking the fourth wall today. So originally when we first pitched the idea of doing this draft, Cam brought up the idea of doing JRPGs, and then neither of us really did our homework until this morning, and we were like, oh wait, there's only so many that have actually been announced for this year that it would
or that we think has a good chance of coming out this year.
yeah, there's only so many, and it gets a little weird when you get into certain things like port re-releases or remasters, and it was just like, we should just expand the definition. So we're kind of now thinking about, okay, wait, what else is this year that's not just JRPGs, but just, Eastern titles in general? What can we go with?
Yep. Um, I'm gonna pick. I'm just gonna be safe. I'm gonna be safe for my first pick here because I am curious as to what you're gonna pick, and I'm gonna pick Dragon Quest Seven.
Okay. That was on my that was definitely on my short list of ones I would probably end up picking. We're gonna find
Yeah,
out about that one relatively quicker than some other ones too. Because
yeah.
that's only next month. Yeah. Sad to lose it, but solid pick. Solid pick.
All right.
Okay, so I already got Fire Emblem.
And to be clear, while you're thinking about this for the audience, the point system is decided by the Open Critic average or
Yes.
whatever. So so whatever Open Critic has the game, we get points, that type of deal, and go from there.
Yeah.
Um, so
Yeah. I'm gonna go with what I think is another safe-ish one. Resident Evil Requiem.
yeah,
Yeah. I feel pretty good about that. And then my other
yeah,
one, this is a little riskier, but I feel like especially with the way this genre tends to get handled by wider critics, uh I feel like within the fan base, this is rougher, but if we're just going with general like, open critic type stuff, I'm going to go with Marvel Toko, Fighting Souls.
okay. I didn't think about Marvel Token.
Yeah, I just like I feel
That's a
like
good pick. That's a good pick.
Arxis stuff gets consistently pretty well received. It's Marvel,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
like I think there's a lot of hype factor with that where, especially with like they've done open betas and stuff where there's been some decent reaction so far. I feel I'm feeling pretty good about that one.
Ooh, this is tough. All right, my first pick because I I think it's going to be really really good. Um, I think it's going to review well. I'm going to pick Phantom Blade Zero.
Ooh, that was one of my maybes as well. I was gonna maybe swoop that up on my next one. So that's
Yep. Phantom Blade Zero. Um, now this is where it gets tough. This is where it gets to like, okay, I think that we're at a point now where I think I'm gonna have to do a quick Google search here. Um, because my thought process is the other games that are coming out that we know are coming out, it's kind of a toss up. Like it could review well.
sure.
It could review really well, or it could be like fine, or
I
it could be like decent.
I definitely have one wild card one I'm planning to pick where I'm like, oh, this could review really well, or this is it's
I know
I have just
exactly what game you're talking
oh,
about
and you might
because
take
I've huh?
and you might take it. I don't know. We'll see.
I don't think I'm gonna. I think I'm gonna let you roll those dice. I don't
Oof.
think I'm gonna let you. I'm not. I don't think I'm gonna take that one.
But
I'd
do I
rather play
want
it
to?
safe. Because here's the thing. Because I'm going to pick my last pick is going to be a wild card. Um.
Sure. Especially because we're exhausting a
So
lot of the easy picks right away, right? Like,
yeah. And so I'm just looking here. Did wait? Really? Okay. Man, that's lower than I want it to be.
looking at older games in the franchise and how they reviewed.
Yep. Yep. Um. But I also don't know what else is gonna come out this year. So it's just like, do I just do it anyway? Let's see here. 'Cause I'm not trying to show my cards here. I forgot about that.
Oh, is there a game you just remembered?
Yes, I did. Um, listen, I I honestly like I don't know if it's, like how well it's gonna review. I really don't,
uh,
but I really enjoyed this game
I think I
when I
know what you're about
played
to
it.
say. Yeah.
Um, and I want to show some love. I'm going Dosa Divas.
Oh, okay.
I'm gonna go Dosa Divas.
That's how much I've been paying attention. I thought that came out last year. I didn't realize that was still going on.
No,
Yeah.
yeah, Dosa Divas. Um, so all right, you got two more picks.
Yeah, I didn't really think about I wasn't paying attention to the indie sphere as much, and there's definitely some ones there that would be
Well,
curious.
there is one that just got announced that you're really excited for.
My brain's not working. I'm still waking up, Cam. Which game got announced?
Orbitals.
Oh yeah, I am excited for Orbitals. This is true. I am very excited for Orbitals. Uh yeah, I wasn't who's I'd actually pay attention
Shape
to
Farm. It's a Japanese studio.
oh, okay. Yeah, I didn't pay attention to the who the dev was, so I didn't know if that it's always tough to tell with anime aesthetic games because it's like either this is made in Japan or this is made by weebs. It's just like one of the two.
Yep.
Um but okay. So Dos Divas, and then did you pick your other one yet? You get two picks, right?
Yeah, it was Phantom Blade.
Oh,
Phantom
Phantom
Blade
Blade.
Zero.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I have four. So I have one
Yeah,
more.
even more. Okay. All right. Let me get my wild card pick out of the way.
Okay.
Um, this
I know what
this
you're
is
gonna pick.
yeah no, this is a risk. This is a risk, and this is one of those games where I'm like, this could end up reviewing very well. I don't think it's gonna be like. I don't think it's gonna get like fours or fives. I don't think it's gonna be that bad, but I could definitely see it getting into like 6, 7 territory, depending on how well they pull
The
off what they're trying
execution
to
of it
do.
all.
Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. It's a very ambitious game, but Crimson Desert. I'm
Yep.
gonna put some faith into it by putting it on the list. That's my. I feel pretty good about all my other picks being like consistent. That's the one where it's
Yep.
like this could be like some high scores or maybe not so much. Um, that's my risky
Yeah.
one.
Yep.
And I have
Yeah.
one more.
Honestly, part of me regrets not picking Resident Evil.
Yeah,
So.
I thought that was to me that was like the easiest pick as far as like
Well,
just
I was
what.
thinking JRPG first
No,
at
that's
the
true.
time. I
That's
was like,
true.
oh,
And
we're just getting right out of the. I know that we're trying to do like
and
we're allowing everything, but I was like,
yeah.
oh, I thought we were gonna like put a focus more. So
Well,
that's fine.
I'm being a little strategic. And to be fair, had you picked Resident Evil, I would have picked Dragon Quest for sure. Like that would have been my
Okay.
immediate
Yeah.
second.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
like I gotta pick one more. Uh where do we stand? It needs to be officially announced, right? Like we can't go with something we're pretty sure this is gonna release, but like we don't actually have hard data yet.
You're gonna have to tell me what the game is.
Pokemon Gen 10.
Yeah, you could do that. You could do Gen 10.
Let me double check my list real quick, but that might be my fifth pick. Let me look at what else
Okay.
we got going on here.
Okay. Okay.
Because like I don't even remember how well. I mean, I know Scarlet Violet got problems because of
Yeah.
performance, but which hopefully they would fix by this point.
Well, I mean, they did. We talked about it last year.
Yeah, but I'm talking about like a game from the ground up, really, not just like having a stable frame rate, but also just like generally looking better. um, that's my final pick. Because I've got some other like risky ones where there's games that like I'm excited for, but I don't know. I just don't know if they're gonna get the good reviews.
Mm-hmm.
I got one pick where I feel like it's got a safe chance of good reviews, but I also am just kind of mad at the devs right now.
Yeah. I know. I
And I'm
know
like,
what game you're
am
talking
I
about.
encouraging by picking you? It's Yakuza. I already talked about my Kagawa stuff a couple episodes ago.
Yeah.
Um, you already picked that. How risky do I want to? I mean, you're going to be risky no matter what on your last one, just because what's left.
I am definitely being risky on this last pick. I'm not like doing a safe pick.
Yeah. Yeah, and the thing is, I already have one risky pick. So, I mean, I guess Phantom Blade Zero is a little bit of a toss up. Like, we don't we've seen some really good stuff, but we're not sure how like well that'll review just yet.
I mean, I've played it and it's
Yeah.
fucking fantastic.
No, I
So
played it too, but I think it's one of those things too where it's just you never fully know until like I've certainly played early demos of games
sure.
where the final release I go, oh, I definitely played the best part of this.
Oh no, that was me with Bayonetta 3. I did the preview for IGN being like, this might end up being one of the greatest action games ever made. And I'm like, but when that game finished, I was like,
That did not age.
Like that was
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't want to drag us out too much longer. So
You're good. You got this. We'll figure it you figure it out.
I've got like two that I'm debating between right now. Um
You're not I don't think you're ever gonna pick mine, so I'm not stressing. I believe in you.
Yeah. All right. This is gonna be another Goodwill one. And
Okay.
this is a risky one, I think. Like
Okay.
even more so than Crimson Desert in some ways.
Okay.
Pragmata.
I was definitely thinking Pragmata like on my last pick, but I was just like I wanted to give some indie love. So
Yeah, no, and I appreciate that. And I probably I yeah. You know what?
Yeah, no, Pragmata's a good pick.
You know what though? No, actually, you're right because I do want to get some indie love too. And I'm going to default to even what I forgot that was confirmed for this year, but let's go with Orbitals. People are liking the couch co-ops.
My last pick is going to be, I believe this is the year, Deca Police.
So how do we rule that if it like gets pushed back again? I don't know how.
No points.
Just none. You just get nothing. There's no.
Yeah, I get no points.
Okay. All right, cool.
No, this is a shot in the dark.
That's a true risk. That's
because like it was gonna come out in 2024, and they're just like, Oh yeah, this isn't. We're not even giving it 2025. This is coming out in 2026.
Yeah.
Like,
And
yeah,
I do agree that I think this is the year for it. But just based on that track record, it is a little bit of a scary choice to just be like, who knows if it doesn't get delayed to like, first quarter of next year or something. We'll find out.
yeah. I mean, like, I love level 5. Like the last time they made a new JRPG IP was Nino Kuni, which is fantastic. So I have a lot of faith in Deca Police. And like the year that they showed it at TGS, like everyone said it was the best thing at the show.
Yeah.
So I I I have to go with Deca Police. What's your last pick, Kevin? Oh
I'm
wait,
at
no, you
five.
did Pragmata.
Yeah. I did Pragmata and no, I did Orbitals. Orbitals.
Or Orbitals, right?
Yeah. I did have
Orbitals.
another one that I thought about picking, but for some reason I thought it did not
You
get.
want to do 6? You want to do 6?
I have one more that is another indie game, and I wasn't sure if I could pick it because I was like, I don't even know if this actually gets its own listings because of the special nature of how it's been released.
Deltarune Chapter 5.
Yeah, Deltarune Chapter 5. Because it's like
Yeah,
so on OpenCritic, they list 1 and 2 as a combo, and they list 3 and 4 as a combo. And like 1
mhm.
and 2 didn't release together initially, but I kind of get how they grouped them together later. And then 3 and 4 did launch together. So I just don't know, like, are there gonna be enough reviews for like 5 to have its own listing? Are people gonna wait because it's like, oh, it's technically like an early access bit by bit release? It's just a part of a full game. It feels like a weird situation to me. But there have been reviews
um
for the individual chapters.
yeah, I mean there's been reviews so I would say you can go for it, but I got to pick mine first because we're doing the snake thing.
No, if we're doing the snake thing, I get to go first.
No, cuz you picked. Oh yeah, technically yeah, technically yeah.
Yeah.
All right, go ahead. So
Oh
you
no,
did
no, you do get
Deltarune.
one more. You're right. You're right. No, because you did your final one pick, which was Decapolice, and then you need one more. You're right.
Oh yeah,
I
yeah,
got
yeah. Okay,
confused and
cool.
switched around.
Okay, now this is tough. Cuz I definitely have like a few games that immediately come to mind still. I just don't know. It's like it's just a boring pick. I'm like, I don't want to pick this. This is boring.
We already
Um,
have our safe picks, so it's like
yeah, exactly. Like I got my few safe picks. Now I wanna get a little wild. But the games that I'm thinking of picking, I'm like, I don't have much confidence that it's coming out this year, even
oh
though it's been in development for a long time. Um, Also, I don't think it's Eastern developed, so that does that.
yeah,
Um,
we're making breaks if there are JRPGs in style, but otherwise, yeah.
I think yeah, I think my last game, I'm playing it safe, but I don't really see anything else right now um to replace it with. I think I'm just gonna go Onimusha.
Yeah, that's one that oh man, I'm excited for Onimusha, and like I feel like I'm gonna dig it, but I absolutely do have that part of me that's like, is this gonna get? I don't think it's gonna get bad reviews, but it's like it could get like 7. Could get the IGN 7, just the classic like, yep, it's good, solid.
Mm. Or there is one other option that I do think will come out this year. Because you're gonna take Deltarune anyway, so I'm not if I didn't take uh Onimusha,
Yeah, the
I think I'll
cutthroat
be
thing would
okay.
the cutthroat thing would be to take Delta.
Oh shit.
Oh,
Oh.
oh, did you figure it out? What's your number 6?
I can't believe neither of us brought this up.
Uh-oh.
I think I have to. I'm going The Adventures of Elliot.
Oh, that was confirmed for next year, huh? I
Yeah,
forgot that
Adventures
was
of
slated.
Elliot.
For some reason I thought that was more of just a like in the future type title, but that is 26, isn't it?
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah,
she.
dude. Yep.
Yeah, no,
I'm
solid pick.
taking the Adventures of Elliot.
Go for it, and then I'll take Deltarune, and then we
Deltarune.
have 4 slots left after. So how does that work over the course of the year? Like when a game gets
So
revealed,
we
we
so we basically have a on the website where we do it, we'll have a budget, and then we get to do bids, and then like I think every Saturday it'll be like you have to keep up to date with it. They don't really notify you.
yeah,
Um, they'll be like, and I think in good faith we can like tell each other like, hey, I put a bid for something, and on
sure.
the Saturday I believe it shows what the bid is,
Hmm.
and then you have like a day to respond if you want to take that thing.
Right. Like lock it in if you
Um
get higher. Yeah.
yeah, exactly. But you have a limited budget. So like if you go too far and then you want to like something else comes out and you're like, "Oh, I want to get this," and then you don't have the money.
Right. Yeah. But if there's like something gets announced, we're both like, oh, that's a 10 out of 10 game for sure. That's where we both kind of risk a high bid because it's like, I want that on the list. Okay.
Yep.
Gotcha.
Yep. So we'll set that up off the podcast, of course.
Yeah.
Um before like reviews start dropping for games. And then yeah, we'll do that. So um for we're gonna reread down the list. I drafted Trails in the Sky second chapter, Dragon Quest VII Reimagined, Phantom Blade Zero, Dos Divas, One Last Meal, Deca Police, and The Adventures of Elliot. The Millennium Trials,
Fails, I think.
Tales. Kevin drafted Fire Emblem Fortunes Weave, Resident Evil Requiem, Marvel Token Fighting Souls, Crimson Desert, Orbitals, and Deltarune Chapter 5. I'm not gonna lie, your lineup is stacked. Your lineup is stacked. So Crimson Desert is the big thing. Like,
That's
if
I think a risky one.
Crimson Desert hits, you got this.
Yeah.
You
And
got
like
this right now.
yeah, I mean, I do think Orbitals is also a little bit of a risky one, just because like I think the trailer shows really good like vibes, and we have seen a lot of love for like the kind of couch co-op. I mean, this is clearly inspired by uh the likes of It Takes Two and such. But who knows? Maybe it ends up not really sticking the landing. Maybe it doesn't play well. Like we don't really know that much about this game other than like the vibes look sick as hell. So
Yeah,
that's a little bit of a risky one too. The other four though, yeah, like you know, not saying it can't happen, but like Resident Evil Requiem, that's like a minimum 8.
guaranteed 85 at
Yeah,
least. Like
like that's yeah. Uh, Fire Emblem, like there has been weaker ones, but I just feel like in general they get
it's
reviewed
still
pretty
going to
well.
be
Yeah,
80 at least
yeah.
80.
Again, fighting games, like I feel like the FGC itself might have opinions about Tokyo, but as far as just like the wider open critic reviews go, I'm like, it's an Arc Sys Marvel fighter, guys. Like this is
Yeah,
people are just gonna
it's
yeah,
gonna review well. It's gonna review well.
yeah,
Yeah, I mean like I think Adventures of Elliot's gonna review well. Like I think Phantom Blade Zero is gonna review well.
yeah,
Like Dragon Quest and Trails probably like
yeah.
I'm
Those are
much
those are pretty
more
safe.
confident in. But yeah, and we got some others to draft if we want to right now, or we can just hold off until like probably Nintendo Direct will be like, oh, okay.
Yeah, like there's
Oh
enough.
my god, you know what we fucking forgot? To be clear, we don't know if it's coming out this year. Persona 4 Revival.
True, we don't know if it's coming out this year.
But it probably is.
Good chance of it, right? If I mean, like, I think there's a solid chance of like first quarter next year, but like, yeah, this year absolutely is a possibility.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So interesting. Well, we will update y'all as the year goes on or the end of the year, whichever we decide to do. Before we get out of here, I am going to read the releases for January.
January.
So for January, we have Animal Crossing New Horizons for the Switch 2 on January 15th. The Legend of Heroes Trails Beyond the Horizon for PlayStation 5, Switch 2, PlayStation 4, Switch, and PC on January 15th. Dynasty Warriors Origins for Switch 2 on January 22nd. Final Fantasy VII Remake Intergrade for Xbox Series consoles and Switch 2 on January 22nd. Uh, the Seven Deadly Sins Origin for PS5, PC, iOS, and Android. Code Vein 2 for PS. The Seven Deadly Sins Origin is January 28th. Did I not say that? Did I say that?
I wasn't like paying attention, if I'm going to be honest.
Okay. Seven Deadly Sins Origin,
I
PS5, PC, iOS, Android, January 28th. Code Vein 2, PS5, Xbox Series consoles, and PC on January 30th. And Front Mission 3 Remake, PS5, Xbox Series consoles, PS4, Xbox One, PC on January 30th. We did it. There it is.
yeah.
All right. Kevin, do you have anything for the people before we dip out?
No, I just hope everyone has the best energy going into this year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, surprisingly short episode. We were able to make it through pretty quick.
Not having what we've been playing helped a lot.
Yeah.
I was a little worried because look, we spent a lot of time on those opening Hashino comments, and I was like, uh oh
We
no.
did. We did.
But the draft also
Uh,
didn't take that long. Like, we could have.
yeah.
The actual act of drafting is pretty fast. So,
Yep.
yeah.
Uh, you can follow me on socials at Cam Final Mix, and you can follow Kevin on socials at Kevin Kenson. Thank you so much for listening to this week's episode. I hope everyone had a great holiday season, holiday break, and I hope you all have a great 2026. And until next time, we'll catch you later.
Later.